Hare Krishna.
Yeah, no one.
One second, my Chrome crashed. One second. Some problem with the internet or what? Temple internet has some problem. Yeah, I'm connected to Temple Wi-Fi.
Okay, start it now.
Yeah, it's good now. It's good now. Okay. So, हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। चलो। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो। Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam Pangum langayate girim Yadkripatamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Isharam Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So 4, 5, 11 Amar Shaitva Tamasahya Tejasam Amar Shaitva Tamasya Dev Amar Shaitva Tam Asahya Tejasam Amar Shaitva Tam Asahya Tejasam Manyu Plutam Durniriksham Brukutya Manyu Plutam Durniriksham Brukutya Karaladam Shra Virudasta Bhaganam Karaladam Shra Virudasta Bhaganam Syat swasti kim kopayato vidhatu Syat swasti kim kopayato vidhatu
Amarsaita tamasya tejasam Manyutam durniriksham ruhupatya Karaladram shikhabhir udastam bhagam Syatsma Vasti kim kopayato vidhatu Amarshayatva tam asahya tejasam Manuklutam durinikshayam brukitya Karaladam sra birudasta bhaganam Yasvasti kim kopayato vidatuhu Amarsyayitva tamasahya tejasam Manyutam dhurniriksham dhrupatya Karaladamstra virdasta bhaganam Yatvasti kim kopayato vidhatuhu
Nobody else? Mataji?
Amarsaitva tamasahya tejasam
Amarsyayitva tamasahya tejasam Manyutam dhurniriksham brukutya
Karaladam Shri Virudashta Bhaganam
Karaladam sra virudasta bhaganam
विकित्सोपयतो विधातुः
यावस्ति किं गोपयो विदातुः
Amarshayitva,
अमर्ष्य शिवा
after causing to become angry,
come
him, Lord Shiva, Asahya Tejasam, with an with an unbearable effulgence, Manyu Plutam, filled with anger, Durnirikshyam, not able to be looked at, Bru Kutya, by the movement of his brows, Karaladam Shravi, by his fearful teeth, Udasta Bhaganam, having scattered the luminaries, Syat, there should be, Swasti, good fortune, Kim, how, Kopayataha, causing Lord Shiva to be angry, Vidhatu, of Brahma. The gigantic black man feared his fearful teeth. By the movement of his brows, he scattered the luminaries all over the sky, and he covered them with his strong, piercing effulgence. Because of the misbehavior of Daksha, even Lord Brahma, Daksha's father, could not have been saved from the great exhibition of anger. I will read the next one. Let's read it through. Bhav Bahavevam udavigna drishyochamane jane dakshasya muhurmahatmanah utpetur utpat utpetur utpat tatama sahasrasho bhayavaha divi bhumo chaparyak. While all the people talked among themselves, Daksha saw dangerous omens from all sides, from the earth and from the sky. Purport by his divine English translation, purport by his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In this verse, Daksha has been described as Mahatma. The word Mahatma has been commented upon by different commentators in various manners. Veeraragava Acharya has indicated that this word Mahatma means steady in heart. That is to say that Daksha was so strong hearted that even when his beloved daughter was prepared to lay down her life, he was steady and unshaken. But in spite of his being so strong hearted, he was perturbed when he saw the various disturbances created by the gigantic black demon. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that even if one is called Mahatma, a great soul, unless he exhibits the symptoms of a Mahatma, he should be considered a Duratma or a degraded soul. In Bhagavad Gita 9:13, the word Mahatma describes the pure devotee of the Lord. Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. A Mahatma is always under the guidance of the internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus, how could such a misbehaved person as Daksha be a Mahatma? Mahatma is supposed to have all the good qualities of the demigods, and thus Daksha, lacking those qualities, could not be called Mahatma. He should instead be called Duratma, a degraded soul. The word Mahatma to describe the qualifications of Daksha is used sarcastically. Again, ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So I seek the blessings of all the devotees, especially His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu. So I pray that I get all of your blessings um, so that I can make spiritual progress. So this is a very instructive episode of Srimad Bhagavatam. So here, this particular demon described either as the gigantic black man. So this black demon created by Lord Shiva is very, very instructive that this is causing disturbance. So, because of Daksha's offense, this demon is going to cause a lot of disturbance and is going to cut off Daksha's head. So, demon and uh, divine, like in 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about the divine and demoniac nature. So, this divine and demoniac nature is a constant, it's a dynamic principle, and unless until by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, by the grace of Guru, only when one becomes a fully pure devotee, can one completely exhibit the divine symptoms. Bhagavatam is very, very clear when Bhagavatam says that only those persons who are devotees of the Supreme Lord, only such persons, they have all good qualities. So only by surrendering to the Supreme Lord completely can one attain all wonderful qualities. And here the misbehavior of Daksha is causing, basically it's causing a curse from the topmost of devotees. So before this, Lord Shiva tolerated, but then at a certain point, for the welfare of Daksha, he chose to punish him. So the learning from this particular episode is that we should never ever take advantage of the tolerance of exalted devotees. Exalted devotees, pure devotees are very tolerant, they are very merciful, but we should never take advantage of their tolerance. Another wonderful example from Srimad Bhagavatam is Ambarish Maharaj. So Ambarish Maharaj, he tolerated Durvas Muni's misbehavior. But ultimately, one day, after some time, Krishna himself could not tolerate, and therefore Krishna decided to punish Durvas Muni. And yesterday, this Bhadacharya was, day of yesterday, Bhadacharya was describing that how, although Ambarish Maharaj had the Sudarshan Chakra, had the power to personally counteract the demon created by Durvas Muni, but Ambarish Maharaj did not do so. So that is the nature of a pure devotee. A pure devotee or exalted devotee never uses his position to enforce his power or enforce his control over others. Rather, he always depends on Krishna. Because a pure devotee's every activity is simply done to please Krishna. His every activity is simply to please Krishna. So Ambarish Maharaj, even in that very difficult situation, his consideration was that if I, instead of invoking Sudarshan Chakra, if I just depend upon Krishna, then Krishna will be more pleased. So according to the law, yes, one has a right to defend himself. But in Krishna consciousness, there is something more than right and wrong. It's about pleasing Krishna. So Krishna is very pleased with him. And that's why his name is in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, that he exhibited that kind of extreme surrender to the Lord. So this is very, very instructive also, that it's not that great devotees, they become great when there is a provoking situation, but they're always great. That's why they're able to tolerate, not only tolerate, but they're able to transcend the provoking situations by their engrossment in Krishna consciousness. They're always engrossed in Krishna consciousness, and by the influence of the internal energy, they act most wonderfully. His Grace Mahatma Prabhu says one thing very nice, that we should all pray actually, because Prabhu is actually undergoing some surgery right now. So yes, some surgery and he's recovering, but we can all pray that he recovers. Hare Krishna. So Mahatma Prabhu says, this Mahatma Prabhu says that we don't rise to the situation, but we fall to the level of our practice. So it's not that someday some very difficult situation will come and suddenly from nowhere we'll start exhibiting pure devotional symptoms. No, it to the extent that we practice, to that extent we'll be able to please Krishna in those provoking situations. I was also hearing recently, His Holiness Ranath Maharaj is saying that how that unless we become sincere today, we will not be able to be sincere in difficult situations. And actually, Krishna is very, very merciful, that Krishna shows to the devotee that the devotee or a conditioned soul like my fallen self, that how much I am actually dependent on the mercy of Krishna. I may not realize it, I may be ignorant, but that is the real fact. So any service, anything we are able to do is simply because of the causeless mercy of Krishna and of his pure devotee. The more and more we realize and we become grateful, and the more and more we want to make sacrifices and we want to serve, the more and more we actually get Krishna's reciprocation. Pure devotees, they light up the world because of their shining example. And their shining example of always exhibiting pure devotional service is seen in every activity. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks to Krishna that Krishna, how does such a person walk? How does he talk? How does he, etc., etc. So in our movement, we have Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, if you see his activities, that how Srila Prabhupada is constantly under the internal energy of the Lord. He is always concerned about pleasing his Guru Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada personally had so much facility, so much opportunity to just be comfortable. In all ways possible, Prabhupada had, but Prabhupada was so bent on the instruction that his Guru Maharaj gave him. And because of that, we can see that how much Prabhupada pleased Krishna, how much Prabhupada's words, Prabhupada's activities were so attractive. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to say, after every single sentence or after being asked any question or any decision, he would always say that if Krishna so desires, this will happen. If Krishna so desires, will. So this constant taking shelter of Krishna, that same mood of an eternal associate of the Lord, eternal associate of Radharani, that same mood came in Prabhupada. That Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada was constantly taking shelter of Krishna. Constantly. In every single condition, Prabhupada was so concerned that Krishna should be pleased. Krishna should be pleased. Krishna should be pleased. And he took the words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur like as if Saraswati Thakur gave him the instruction yesterday. So even after Srila Prabhupada achieved so much, like what did Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? He said, if you get money, print books. That was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's instruction. But Prabhupada did not just stop there. Prabhupada did not just himself print books, but he instructed his disciples to also continue to serve his Guru. And till the last moment, Srila Prabhupada was translating, was instructing his disciples to translate his books into so many languages. So we can see that how that yes, it is true that Prabhupada is the eternal liberated soul of the spiritual world. But at the same time, we see that throughout Srila Prabhupada's life, how much precedence Srila Prabhupada gave to his Guru Maharaj's instruction. That yes, Prabhupada was fully Krishna conscious, but at the same time, Prabhupada was also fully Guru conscious, fully conscious of his Guru's instruction. Throughout his life, even when he was in quote unquote household life, even though before he was staying in Vrindavan, he was constantly conscious of that instruction. So that is a very, very important principle in our Krishna consciousness. And that is the only way we can actually become free from the conditioning of our body and the conditioning of our mind, the conditioning of this material world, is by becoming deeply attached to a pure devotee. We may feel inspired, we may not feel inspired. Regardless of the situation, it is our foremost duty to internally demonstrate our dedication to the words of the pure devotee, to take the dust from the lotus feet of the pure devotee in our heart, um, in at all times, through their words. So that is the only way that we can be saved from displeasing devotees, displeasing great souls. Because, yes, even in this world, great souls have different dispositions, have different, you can say, transcendental taste. But great souls can understand whether someone is acting out of surrender or someone is acting out of false ego. So they can understand this. So if they see that someone is acting out of surrender, then the great souls, they have no problem. So in the next verse, the omens are being described, that how dangerous omens. So what is the number one dangerous omen, which is very dangerous for any practicing devotee, is when devotees are displeased with him, when the authority is when Guru is displeased. So in that respect, I require the blessings of everyone. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, again and again, we hear how devotees are so conscious of their dealings. So the most important, Srila Prabhupada said that the most important activity of our spiritual life is our chanting of the holy names. And in one purport, Prabhupada says that in order to chant offenselessly the holy name, one has to have a proper relationship with the devotees. So to have a proper relationship with the devotees, Prabhupada is so nicely spoken in this purport, Mahatma. So who is Mahatma? Mahatma is someone who is actually under the divine protection of Srimati Radharani, which means that he is always engaged in the service of Krishna. Prabhupada says very strongly that one has to attain this state of consciousness in order to be steady in Krishna consciousness. And that is, Yasya deve para bhaktiri jatha deva tatha guru tasya te hi karita hi artha prakashante mahatmanaha. So one has to have unflinching faith in Guru and Krishna. So this unflinching faith is very, very important because for us to give up the enjoying spirit of this world, we need some shelter. We need some soothing, cooling moonlight, and that comes emanates from the lotus feet of Guru. So when we put unflinching faith in the words of Guru, whether regardless of what we may feel, when we put unflinching faith, then through that unflinching faith, Guru's protection will come in our life. And only on the basis of that protection in our life will we be able to be enthusiastic in Krishna, will be enthusiastic and absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So this is very, very important. This one pointed dependence on the words of Srila Prabhupada. How many times Prabhupada used to say, just, you see, Prabhupada, we've not seen Prabhupada mentioning Saraswati Thakur so many times in his talks, but we see that whenever Prabhupada mentioned that my Guru Maharaj said, my Guru Maharaj is giving me guidance, my Guru Maharaj, you see how deep Prabhupada's love is for his spiritual master. There is one famous audio online where Srila Prabhupada is telling some devotees. The devotees are appreciating Srila Prabhupada, that Prabhupada, you have done such great thing. And Prabhupada is saying that, okay, I have done whatever I have done, but if my Guru Maharaj is not pleased by all this, it is a complete waste of time. So Prabhupada to say that, and with how grave Prabhupada was when he said that, that really impacted my heart. So, Srila Prabhupada, what is Prabhupada's greatest quality? What is, we hear from Prabhupada's mercy, we hear from Prabhupada's own mouth, what was his greatest quality? Prabhupada said, hearing was my hobby. This is one of the first things I heard in my Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, hearing was my hobby. And I was like, wow, hobby. Because before you come to Krishna consciousness, hobby means doing something for sense gratification. Hobby means something where you don't really absorb your mind, you just have fun. So Prabhupada said, wow, hearing was my hobby. And then Prabhupada said that I was just addicted to hearing from my Guru Maharaj. I would sit and hear from my Guru Maharaj for hours and hours and hours. So this is actually Prabhupada's greatest quality, Prabhupada's addiction to hearing. So only by hearing can we attain this very strong faith. So this unflinching faith at the lotus feet is simplicity. That is simplicity. That is humility. So if we can cultivate this simplicity and this humility, mm, to cultivate, we first need to put unflinching faith. And we put unflinching faith, through that unflinching faith, we can associate with the moods of our previous acharyas. Like that, the other day we were singing that Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gunainu. So that Prabhupada said, this is my favorite song. And in this song, at one point, Narottam Das Thakur is praying that, oh my dear Krishna, oh daughter of King Rishabham, oh Sri Radha, that please don't reject me. Haha Prabhu Nanda Sutta, Rishabhanu Sutta Yuta, Karuna Karo Eva. That please give me your mercy. So when Prabhupada himself is speaking about this, we can see the depth of Prabhupada's emotion. And so by having unflinching faith in our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, we can actually, our heart can become the receptacle of such emotions, of such feeling. And what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada said, Bhakti means feeling. So this is very, very important. Narottam Das Thakur, I will just end with this. This pastime is We can speak so much about this pastime. We've spoken so much about this pastime. So here the crux of the purport is, who is Mahatma? Who is Mahatma? Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatir akinchana. Uh, So akinchana, one has to have that divine faith, divine faith, and only on the basis of that divine faith and surrender. So surrender is a real exhibition of faith. So on the basis of that surrender, one can exhibit the symptoms of Mahatma. So I will just speak about one amazing pastime, because we know, or I know personally, that how difficult it is to be fully Krishna conscious. But at the same time, this particular pastime is very, very hopeful to me. Very hopeful to me. So, Srila Prabhupada struggled so much. I mean, I request everyone to the extent possible to read Leelamrit, Prabhupada Leelamrit, because in Prabhupada Leelamrit we see one thing is how Prabhupada struggled so much before Prabhupada actually established this international movement, and at the same time, how Srila Prabhupada, after establishing this movement, how he maintained this movement. So if you read actually Prabhupada's actually after reading this, I had I gained lot of appreciation for Guru Prabhu, like anything. If you read Prabhupada's exchanges with the devotees, um, how Prabhupada was maintaining the temple. Wow, Prabhupada is like so heavy with the devotees. Like one devotee asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, and sorry, Prabhupada asked one devotee, there is some problem, some service is not being done. Prabhupada says, how should we solve this problem? That devotee tells Prabhupada, Prabhupada, by becoming Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada became very upset. He said, this is an impractical, this is an impractical solution. And if you see, especially read how Prabhupada used to maintain Vrindavan temple, Prabhupada is like left and right chastising all the devotees. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj actually says, that they were working so hard to make Vrindavan temple the way Prabhupada wanted. And finally, after some time, Prabhupada was not chastising, everything was okay. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj told Prabhupada that Prabhupada, everything is first class. Then Prabhupada became very upset. Prabhupada said, no, I see everything is fifth class. I'm just quoting, I'm not adding any purport. Prabhupada is so strong about everything in the temple. And then His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj says this, that Prabhupada, he said one time, Prabhupada pointed to him and Prabhupada said, my business is to simply find out your fault. So when we see this example of Prabhupada, we see that how much institution is dear to Prabhupada. It's not that Prabhupada just created this institution for his own comfort, so that he can preach nicely, he can travel, he can give initiation. No, Prabhupada is very concerned about everything, every nook and corner. If Prabhupada would go to any temple, he would taste the prasadam. And if prasad was not good, he will call. He said, what is this? So that's how much Prabhupada is concerned. And that's very important actually. Saraswati Thakur says that Guru's body and Guru's institution is non-different. So just like a Guru comes, you won't just say Guru to tell the Guru, yeah, just starve, just take care of. No, we'll take care, right? The same way we have to take care of this institution. And this care will actually give us a lot of strength in spiritual life. By serving the institution, we'll get a lot of strength in spiritual life. So yeah, so and now I'll come to the pastime, just 2-3 minutes. So Narottam Das Thakur had one disciple, many disciples, so many disciples. Famous disciples are there, but this one disciple, before he took the shelter of Narottam Das Thakur, his name was Chandra Roy. So all the sinful activities he used to perform. But what happened is that After some time, by performing sinful activities, he was actually attacked by Brahma Rakshasa. So Brahma Rakshasa is basically a ghost. So very sinful people get attacked by this ghost, and this person was attacked by that ghost, and he was not able to stay peaceful. So they called for an exorcist. They called for anyone possible, and nobody could do anything. Even sober yogis, babas, all these, nowadays we hear about so many babas and gurus. So nobody was able to do anything. So finally, Narottam Das Thakur was notified. Narottam Das Thakur came. Narottam Das Thakur bestowed his mercy. He asked the Brahma Rakshasa to leave. He freed this person. He gave him initiation. He gave him first and second initiation. And then, very important, this person actually went back to his family. He's a king. His new name was actually um, Krishna Das. New name was Krishna Das, and he went back to his family. And one day, this devotee went to the bank of a river and was going to take bath. So previously he was very protective. He had so many soldiers. Now he's a devotee. So he just went with some of his friends, some of his associates. So seeing that, the enemy king arrested him, and he was put into prison. He was not given anything to eat, anything to drink. And what happened eventually? They expected him to die naturally. Right? They said, they gave him an ultimatum. They said that if you don't change your caste, if you don't change to Islam, of course, we respect all religions, but there are some people who are a little fanatic, who don't understand the purpose, the essence of all religions. So he said that unless you change your caste, and what did it mean by changing his caste? Means you have to give up chanting the holy name. So even Muhammad says that that we should chant the name of God. But yeah, he said that we should give up chanting Hare Krishna. And also, yeah, one more problem was happening, that he was in charge of taking care of Jagannath temple, and Jagannath's service was suffering. So, so he said, okay, no problem. For the sake of Jagannath, I am willing to do anything. So this great devotee, in for the pleasure of his guru and so on and so forth, he he did not give up his Krishna consciousness. He would sing the songs of Narottam Das Thakur. He would chant the holy name, and he said, "Okay, if I have to die, let me die, no problem." So one day, this enemy king, he said, "Okay, tomorrow is your last chance." He said two options: either you give up chanting, give up this process, or I am going. You have to fight against a mad elephant. So this person has not eaten or had any water for days. You can imagine his condition. And he said that you have to fight with this mad elephant. So what is the natural conclusion? If such a person fights with a mad elephant, then means he's going to die, right? Natural. So he was released and he was fighting with that mad elephant. And he did something incredible. So this mad elephant came charging at him. He caught the mad elephant by the tusk, and he he twirled I mean he swung the elephant around, and the tusk, it came out from the elephant. The elephant started bleeding, and ultimately the elephant died. So the enemy king was shocked. He said, "Wow, how is it possible? You have not been eating or drinking for months now. Literally, how did you do this?" He said, "Well, I don't know, just my guru's mercy." And then he described something very, very instructive for all of us, which is actually the essence. para bhakti. So at one point, when he was in prison, his father actually sent a tantric, you know, someone who can do black magic. And this tantric said that with this mantra, I came through the tunnel and I I'm here now. So I dug the secret tunnel. You can come with me and we can escape. So, but for that, you just have to take shelter of this mantra of Mother Durga. So Krishna Das said, impossible. My spiritual master, Narottam Das Thakuri, put his lotus feet on my head, delivered me from this miserable material world, and promised me that I will get pure love of Godhead. How can I leave his service? How can I leave his service? How can I leave his shelter and take shelter of any other mantra, any other process? So, this is the essence. As long as we maintain this unflinching faith, unflinching faith um, in the instructions, in the service of our spiritual master, only then can we be successful in the path of Krishna consciousness. So we have to have this one pointed thing, like all with all the Prabhupada disciples, you see that why they're Mahatma, why they're so great, because they just completely accepted Prabhupada. They just accepted whatever Prabhupada said. And because they developed that attachment, that love for Prabhupada, and that's why Prabhupada could deliver them. See, Prabhupada is giving mercy to everyone. But why they got mercy? Because they achieve that kind of dependence. If you can internally achieve that kind of dependence on Guru, always that dependence, just like an example, right? Like a small child, even before passing urine, like Prabhupada narrated his own life, that even before passing urine, going to the bathroom, he asks his mother. So simple, so simple. So dependent. So if we can, of course, we don't have to be foolish, we don't have to be silly. I'm not speaking about this particular incident, but I'm just highlighting the point of simplicity. Because many times what happens after we become senior, after some years, then we lose that dependence, we lose that innocence, that simplicity in bhakti. Then we are saying, Oh, Gyan Timirandhasya, I'm speaking about myself. I feel like, oh, you don't really feel that. That really we are in dark, well, really Guru is helping us. So that deep prayerful mood, if we can maintain that is the seed of realization. That's not just the seed of knowledge, that's not just the seed of anything, but it's the seed of Krishna conscious realization. So we should know for a fact that all these pure devotees, Prabhupada is regularly reciprocating with them. Every day, every moment, they are reciprocating with Prabhupada. And on Prabhupada's encouragement, on Prabhupada's reciprocation, they are doing everything in this world. As far as Gopal Krishna Maharaj, how it is possible that he was able to do so much in such a frail condition? He came to Detroit Temple. He was singing Yashamati Nandan. He had no voice to sing. But when he was singing Yashamati Nandan, like all the devotees, you could feel that such an amazing spiritual atmosphere was created. How? Because of his strict adherence to Prabhupada, because of his full surrender to Prabhupada. Right? So therefore, there is no doubt, there is absolutely no doubt, someone who has achieved this kind of dependence on Guru, their success is 100% guaranteed. 100% guaranteed. Prabhupada himself says that don't worry about anything, just completely surrender and serve a spiritual master. Spiritual master will worry about the remaining part, taking you back to Godhead, anything. It's not that chanting our rounds, loving Krishna is not important, but how to become a Mahatma. Because unless you are under the internal energy of the Lord, unless you get the grace of an devotee who is in the internal energy, it's impossible for us to take the next step. Hmm. So Guru's business is to fix our lotus feet in Vrindavan, in the spiritual, um, what is it? In the spiritual platform. So only when Guru does that, Guru's mercy does that, then only we can take the next step. See, we can hear pastimes of Krishna, we can, so many things, we can do it. But the first step before all that is gaining Guru's pleasure, gaining Guru's mercy. Right? So when we have achieved that dependence, then we can achieve anything. Guru is very merciful, Prabhupada is very merciful. I'll just end with this very hopeful thing. Very hopeful thing. I know online there may be some new devotees, but this is very hopeful. Prabhupada is writing an introduction to Krishna book. Kartik is coming up. Prabhupada is saying in Krishna book, on one hand, Prabhupada is saying we should not approach Krishna's pastimes, 10th canto pastime, without going through the first 9 cantos. Right? So first 9 cantos means so many verses, so many words. But you see in Krishna book, of course, Krishna book also we should not jump. When Krishna book, Prabhupada is openly presenting Krishna's pastimes. And Prabhupada, if you read the introduction, actually that's what we have to read Prabhupada's words very scrutinizingly. If we do so, we'll become very enthusiastic in bhakti. Prabhupada says in the introduction to Krishna book that even though these pastimes of um, Radha and Krishna, even though they are very lofty, even though they're very exalted, but Prabhupada says, even if one is not pure, if one hears them with a submissive heart from the mouth of a pure devotee, and Prabhupada is speaking about, of course, reading what he has written, then one can be elevated to the highest platform of spiritual life. So Prabhupada is writing this, and then the example of this is all our gurus, that they have attained such an exalted platform of spiritual consciousness simply because, see, this statement that I mentioned, you can go and read it in Introduction to Krishna book. I don't want to add or subtract anything. Of course, Prabhupada says if you're becoming agitated, if you are so many things, you should not read, you should not hear. That's of course there. But the point I'm highlighting is that if you have unflinching faith, if you have unflinching faith in the lotus feet of Prabhupada, lotus feet of Guru, what will happen? When you see this statement, you'll become very enchanted. You'll be like, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. Prabhupada is saying. If Prabhupada is saying, means it is possible. So that means, yes, we may not be qualified, but our mood will be, instead of having the mood that, okay, I'm not qualified, so I'm depressed, so forget about it. No, we will think that, no, I need to attain this stage. I need to do whatever it takes to attain this stage. What should I do? We'll start praying. Okay, I'm not qualified, but how can I become qualified one day? How? How? That we'll have that intense crying, intense desire. So that intense desire, laulyam, Krishna will shower mercy. Krishna will open up new pathways in our spiritual life. And then by practicing eventually, I'm very far, but we'll become qualified. We'll become qualified. So the ultimate thing in Krishna consciousness is to develop that intense greediness, that intense desire to get the mercy of Guru. At any cost, I need it. Somehow or other, I need it. If we pray with this urgency, with this intense desire, on this auspicious day, Ekadashi, we pray with this intense desire that I need to attain your mercy, my Lord. I need to attain the mercy of Guru. So when we pray with this intense urgency and this desire that no, at any cost, I have to attain it. I have to do whatever it takes. Then so many instructions, so many things will come into our heart. So much mercy, pure devotees will shower so much mercy. You don't need to go to a pure devotee to get mercy. Just by developing this intense desire, you can get mercy of pure devotee. So this is the thing. This is the thing. So we need to have this unflinching faith, this simplicity, this innocence, so that we can become very eager in Krishna consciousness, very sincere in Krishna consciousness. Evam, this I'll just end with this verse. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kama vikamanuya prapatan prasangat kritmat kritvatmasa surashina bhagavan grihita soham katam visraje tava vritya seva. Prahlad Maharaj is saying, my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant Narad Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my duty is to serve him. How could I leave his service? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any question or comment?
So whatever is happening in Daksha, so where you reside now is 14 kilometers Krishna. Where Daksha resides?
Sorry, Prabhu. Right now, I'll get back to you. Whatever you would like to answer.
So Satyanga, that time when the beginning of this, there's like if you see the words when the Dashram is arising, they say this earth is ruled by Prachinagar. Is a restrict ruler, so means they are still on the earth.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So right now, also some money, when money is to give that money, think of that. There are many dimensions that we can definitely on this planet. ಭೂಮಂಡಲನೇ ಚತುರ್ಥಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇಂದು ಭರತವರ್ಷ is small. Then I think it is ಭರತವರ್ಷ. The ಭೂಮಂಡಲ is everything is happening on Bhumi. Goes so so upon that Dwarf Loka is there, upon that Circle Loka is there. So at the time, what is that? There is no difference of between Circle Loka and Dwarf Loka. Many times these people will be like like Indians and US people will transact and talk. So similarly, upper planetary, lower planetary system are easily going and moving. But only become this coming up being restricted. So those people are not coming down, or even they come down, people not able to see. So these restrictions are there with me Kali. Otherwise, in Satyuga, another time it will open. So the earth is not only yeah, earth is not only Bhuloka. Bhuloka means Bhuloka. So Bhuloka means complete. You know, having the Meru is an axis, it's a very big one. So if for example, if this is a plane, and in the middle there is a Meru, and if you put one small piece like this here, this is actually Bhuma. This is actually means there is a applicant means in English words. I will a better translate as a Bharatavarsha. Is a Bharatavarsha. One part of Bharatavarsha is US and another side is India, everything is everything. But also there is like Meru Parvat is in Russia.
Okay, anyone online has any question or comment?
For that, better you can go to Vedic planetary system. In Mayapur, the designing, you can understand it.
Okay, nobody online has any question or comment?
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very inspiring class. Thank you.
Okay, we'll end here. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya